Hey, good morning, everyone. I pray that you all are doing well. Happy Monday. I pray that you all had a blessed weekend. I pray that you are ready, you are rejuvenated, you are refreshed. I pray that this weekend that you were able to spend some time with your family and your loved ones and get refreshed and you're ready to tackle Monday. I know sometimes Mondays are hard for us to get started, but I pray that you are ready. I pray that you are motivated. I pray that you're having a blessed day so far. I know it's early, but let's go ahead and get started. I'm looking for something real quick. All right, that's okay. We got this. All right. So, what I wanted to talk, it's interesting because last night or shall I say this morning, hey, Evangelist Stephanie, good morning. Happy Monday to you. I hope you had a blessed weekend. It's kind of interesting because last night God woke me up with a little bit of pain from this kidney stone still going on. Woke me up at about 1 o'clock in the morning. So I got up, took some meds, and then I couldn't go back to sleep. And so I was just kind of, sometimes you just kind of lay there and okay, what am I going to do? Well, the next thing I know, um, this is very interesting. So last night before I went to bed and I had on my mind that I was going to meditate on a scripture before I went to bed. And the scripture that I meditated on was, I believe it was Mark 11 and 24. And you can go back and read that scripture later. Irrelevant to the story, but I meditated on scripture. And so God woke me up at about 1 o'clock in the morning and I took my medication. Then I'm laying there and I couldn't sleep. And the next thing you know, God started to pour into me a message about the scripture that I was meditating on. So I was up for probably about an hour writing the message. And it's funny because God was just flooding me with all types of ideas about, we have a YouTube channel. It's called All About One. All About One with Lee Mooring. So we have a YouTube channel and we've been working on our content. Typically, we just send our lives over there and let it roll, but it's not doing too well traction wise. So we're thinking of ideas how to revamp it, how to um, re-energize that channel. And so God just started just pouring all of these ideas into me. At next thing I know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just typing and writing things down, and I'm just amazed how God works. So my point for that story is this: that to go to bed with a scripture on your mind. Um, Usually I talk about going before you go to bed, you have a routine because it helps you unwind, it helps you relax. And last night I tried, I've gone to bed before I go to bed, and I've read the word, read the scripture, read a devotional, things like that. But last night I was very intentional and I said, you know what? I want a scripture in my spirit. And it's interesting how God works because He definitely gave me some things on that scripture. I was able to write a message. So you will be seeing a new video come out soon based on that scripture. What else was I talking about? So last night also before I went to bed, I was in my I'm in the guest room because my kidney stone, the pain, and I keep getting up every couple hours, take medication so I don't bother Allie. But before I go to bed last night, I usually watch TV, and I usually try to watch a loose comedy, something that's not very stressful. So I've been watching How I Met Your Mother, which is a pretty good show to binge watch. But anyway, so I'm watching it and I took a break. I'm like, let me go read something. And I recently purchased this book. It's called The Church Playbook. I purchased that. It's by Pastor Todd Tolson. And I was scrolling through Facebook one day and I saw this ad pop up for the church playbook. And it said something like free. All you have to do is pay shipping and handling. And sometimes, you're a little skeptical about those things. So I was like, at the church playbook, hey, we're planting a church. Let me get this book. And so I sent off, it was like $9 for shipping and handling. Next thing you know, they got me, this book came. And so, yes, Evangelist Stephanie, I'm about to tell you about this book. You may want to make this purchase. So, so I guess we're their target audience. So I picked up this book last night and I'm thinking to myself, when you look at this book, you're just like, oh man, there ain't going to be much information in here. But I'm like, you know what? Let me do a little light reading. And so as I flip through it, there's only 67 pages, 68 pages in this book. Okay. So very short book. And as I'm thinking about, writing my own book, I'm like, oh, I can keep it short. And you can see, look, it's the print is not small, it's pretty big, wide margin. So I'm like, let me just do some light reading. Well, so basically I'm like, there's probably not going to be anything in here. Let me just I just wanted to go to sleep. And so I start reading this book, and I never read intros. I never read intros. What's that? The forward. I never read the forwards because I'm like, let me just get to the point. So I get to the first, I skim through it and I see some keywords, have a team, blah, 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 church, etc., etc. And I'm like, let me get to the first chapter. And next thing you know, so what this book is called a church playbook. And what Pastor Todd does is he breaks this down in the form of a sports team. And he talks about, things like the coach being the pastor, and your assistant coaches are the assistant pastors, and the players, and who's the audience, the crowd, all these things. And he breaks it down. And so I start reading the first chapter. And at first I'm like, wah, 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 because I don't like fluff. I really don't. When I'm reading the book, I just want to get to the meat. And so I'm reading stories, and I think he's telling the story. I just was skipping by it. But I just want to get to the meat. And then finally, like around page, I don't know, I was into the book a little bit, maybe four or five pages before I got some meat. And then all of a sudden it started speaking to me. And I was like, I really like the way he used this analogy. He broke the church down. Instead of saying bishops and archbishops and deacons and elders and all this stuff, he broke it down into simple terms for coaching. You have and what each person's job is within the church. And so I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. So I'm like, just a fluke. So I kept reading. And next thing you know, he starts talking about planning for your church. And he goes into talking about retreats and how you should do things. And then he talks about how to treat visitors that are coming. He goes on to talk about how someone, if you're a pastor, how you should have somebody come into your church, like a friend of yours who doesn't go to your church, to evaluate things. And I started thinking, I'm like, how can I apply this to a digital ministry? And then God started speaking to me. And then next thing you know, I'm just all in this book writing. I'm writing all over my pages, all over. I'm glad there was plenty of margin space now, because I got to write my notes. And then he breaks it down. And then, oh my goodness, I love this in books. Let me tell you what this gentleman does. In the back of the book, or in the back of chapter 1, he breaks down, he summarizes it's not a typical general summation, but it's detailed. It's right to the point, bullet points of like five things with like sub bullets. It's like, look, only like a page and a quarter. He breaks down the whole chapter. And I love that in a book. And so I'm just sitting there, and I had to run in and tell Allie about this. And let's see, I'm the same way. I want to get to the exact, yes, exactly. You feel me, Evangelist Stephanie? Quit with all the stories. The stories are nice. Let me get to the facts. Let me get the point 1, 2, 3, and 4 and get out of there. And so, and then you all know that I don't read books often. I will listen to audiobooks. So for me to pick up a physical book, there must have been something going on. God was doing something. But I was so blessed by this book. And the moral of this story is, don't judge a book by its cover, because we've all, look, Evangelist Stephanie, that's fine. That's funny that we're talking about this, because you've seen that advertisement. I get it over and over again. So also, Evangelist Stephanie, just to let you know, I am in a free 1 week training by him. It's called like 100 days. It's like 100 people in 100 days. It's basically breaking down how to increase your ministry by 100 people in 100 days. And it's free. I will send you the link. It starts today. But anyway, don't judge a book by its cover, because I'm looking at this book, and I even put this book back there. You probably saw it in a couple past videos. And I'm just like, man, this little book, there's not much in it. I was judging the book by its cover. Yes, the cover is very nice, but it's very simple. But once I opened it up, oh my goodness. Um, 2 points here. Don't judge a book by its cover. And Pastor Todd, thank you so much. You know what? I gotta tell you more about this story. So what happened was um hey Pastor Tim, how you doing? Thanks for joining us. So okay, so some more information on this book. So I signed up for this, right? And what happened? I got the book, and then along with it, you get a free 30-day access to his academy, his website stuff. And so that's free 30 days. And I didn't pay attention. The book came, I put it to the side. But anyway, so now finally after 30 days, it said your credit card will get billed. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I I what happened? My credit card got billed. So I'm like, what is going on? And I'm just furious. I'm mad because it was like, I think $47 something like that. And I'm just furious. I'm like, I need to address this right now. So I immediately emailed the company, hey, tell me how to get access to this academy so I could at least go and check it out. Well, I didn't get a response. And I'm like, great. So then when we start this challenge, the person in charge, Pastor Todd, he starts inviting people into the Facebook group because I signed up for it. So he invites me in. So I'm like, let me message him because I thought about the money again. Like, let me message him. So I messaged him, and I don't know, in my spirit, I was angry and upset at the time. And so I'm like, hey, I emailed blah, 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 this and that. And I think I was taking medication too. So for my kidney stone surgery this week, don't send emails when you're taking medication. That's a second point. But anyway, so I messaged him, blah, blah, blah. And this was like on Saturday or Sunday. He messaged me back immediately. Hey, brother, here's the thing, blah, 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 this and that. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And it was like angry text. It wasn't any caps, but it was angry text. And so then I'm like, all right, let me go out and see what's at this website. Or no, that was Saturday. So Sunday I came back and look, let me go see what's at this website. So I go out and check out his website and his content for this academy. And I start listening. I start looking for the resources. I'm downloading the resources that it gives it. And I start listening, and I'm hearing his voice. And man, I'm like, man, this guy seems pretty nice. And so I'm listening. This is Pastor Todd. I'm telling you, get this book. It is amazing. So I'm listening to Pastor Todd do his thing. And I'm just like, man, this is a really nice guy. This is somebody that I really want to know. And so what'd you say? You should do a pass the book along, and the next person will speak on their experience with the book, and they will pass it on. Ah, I like that. Just let you know, my notes are going to be in the book. And if you pass, the best sidebar, the best thing someone has ever done for me is they recommended a book. They handed me their copy of the book, and their copy of the book already had highlighted things. Oh my goodness, I was in love because then I didn't have to read through the fluff, which I mentioned earlier. I just got to the point, which I love that. So if you get a book from me, it's going to be highlighted already. Anyway, so I I'm hearing Pastor Todd's voice, and he has such a nice soft voice, and I'm just like, man, this guy seems like a nice guy. And so I'm like, man, I sent him that mean email and that mean message on the, so I immediately wrote back, messaged him and said, hey sir, I apologize if I came off as a jerk last night when I messaged blah 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 this and that. Please forgive me. And he wrote back, and he's like, no, he's like, brother, he's like, I didn't take that tone at all. Blessings to you. I was like, awesome. So the point to that is that if you've done somebody wrong, then you need to go back and rectify it immediately. You need to apologize to that person immediately. So I apologize to Pastor Todd. He didn't take any offense because he didn't see the anger. Maybe it was just me thinking that I wrote. But anyway, so we're good now, and we're ready to start this challenge. But going back to this book, don't judge a book by its cover, because this book was just phenomenal. And the final thing that I'm going to add on this is that I'm a firm believer that if you take dedicated time and sit down, I read this somewhere recently that this quote, it was like, if you dedicate time to a problem, you will solve it. I think that was the quote, something like that. If you dedicate time to a problem, you will solve it. I am a firm believer that if you designate time where you are undistracted to focus on a particular area, you will come out with so many ideas. You will come out with a plan. You will come out with even more ideas. You'll come out with some answers to the questions that you had going in. My coach recently told me this, that the best place to get ideas is in the shower. Because if you think about it, you don't do anything in the shower. What do? You shower, but you don't have your phone in there. You're not texting. You're not on social media. You're not doing anything. But you have time to focus. Plus, the water relaxes you, puts you in a different mind. But that's a different story. So take dedicated time to focus. If you have some issues that's going on in your life, don't just let them rattle around in your brain. Think about it. Sit down, designate some time, put your phone to the side, don't answer, shut down your email, and take and dedicate time to address the issues and concerns that you have in your life. And I guarantee you will get the answer, because one, you're spending time with God. So God is going to give you the answers. But anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Pastor Tim, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate you, sir. Evangelist Stephanie, you are so awesome. Thank you. Pastor Tim, you're awesome too. Didn't want to think one person was awesome. No. Pastor Tim, you're awesome. Evangelist Stephanie, you're awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, do not judge a book by the cover. And if you are in ministry, this is a great book. It's simple. It's to the point. I love that. Pastor Todd, shout out to you. I can't wait to start working with you this week on this challenge. I'm looking forward to Church Playbook. You've seen it probably pop up in your Facebook feed. Get it. It's an awesome book. You'll be blessed. Once again, thank you so much for watching and tuning in and listening to me for a few moments. I pray once again that you all have a blessed day. I will talk to you soon. Take care and God bless.